This meeting of the Tyler ISD Board of Trustees was previously called to order. The presence of a quorum has been established and the meeting has been duly called. The notice of the meeting has been posted in the time and manner required. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. And as always, we will start with a prayer and the pledge. And Mr. Newsom, it's your turn to do that.
May we bow. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, once again, we come to you thanking you for being the God that you are. God, we thank you for watching over our teachers and our children and our administration on a daily basis. We pray that you will continually do so by protecting them daily. Lord, we know that there are a lot of things going on in this world. We pray that we can continue to focus on educating our children to the highest level possible. Pray that you will continually be with them every day in the classroom, that they can make the connections with the students, that they can continue to enhance their lives, both as individuals that love and care for them. Lord, we pray that you will continually be mindful of the situation of this world, that you will continually watch over it, and that decisions can be made that will be pleasing and acceptable to you. All these things I ask and pray for in your beloved Son, named Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Newsom. We are reconvening from executive session, and there is some action to follow coming out of there. And so there are a couple of items we need to handle. One is the possible action to approve the termination of the Chapter 21 probationary employment contract of Ashlyn Beard and Amy Chiswick.
Mr. President, at our meeting on October 17th, 2022, the board proposed termination of the probationary contracts of Ashlyn Beard and Amy Chiswick. The required notices of proposed termination were delivered to these employees, and no request for hearing has been received in either case. The deadline to request a hearing has passed. I now move that the board terminate the probationary contracts of Ashlyn Beard and Amy Chiswick.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. And we have another possible action to propose the termination of the Chapter 21 probationary employment contract of Ashley Sneed.
Mr. President, I move that the board propose the termination of the probationary contract of Ashley Sneed for abandonment of her duties under the contract, and the administration be directed to send out the required legal notices of the proposed termination.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Harrison. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Thank you all for sitting through that. Just some business we had to take care of. Now we have special recognitions.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Crawford. We want to begin the special recognition portion of tonight's meeting by announcing our November District Students of the Month. The elementary student of the month is Aaliyah Lloyd, a fourth grade student at Pete Elementary School. And our secondary student of the month is Lorelei Walker, a senior at Tyler Legacy High School. At this time, please join us in watching a brief video about these two outstanding students.
Throughout the school year, we see successful student outcomes happening all around us. Whether in the classroom, on the court, on the field, or across the stage, we celebrate these successes. This is our school district, and these are our Students of the Month. The month of November, when we recognize our veterans, we give thanks with family, and the time changes. It also brings our attention to our November Students of the Month.
Hello, I'm Aaliyah Lloyd, District of Student of the Month for November at Pete Elementary.
Aaliyah is a proud Pete Wildcat who loves math and practices the 7 habits of highly effective people. One habit in particular.
I like doing synergize because then whenever we do something, we can work together. And we can do anything when we work together.
Aaliyah holds several campus leadership jobs and has received the Star Student, AB Honor Roll, and Leader in Me Award. Her 4th grade math teacher, Miss Chandler, had this to say.
Aaliyah is so respectful and responsible, and she's reliable. She really helps her teacher and all of her classmates. I am so proud of her.
Now let's dive in and meet our secondary Student of the Month, Lorelei Walker.
I'm Lorelei Walker, and I'm the District Secondary Student of the Month for November.
Lorelei is a product of Tyler ISD, starting her public education career practicing Leader in Me habits at Bell Elementary. She shared the impact Leader in Me has had all the way through her senior year.
Leader in Me has affected me in elementary school, middle school, and high school, which I never really thought of the big picture of what that would do. But it has impacted me, and it's made me take on more leadership responsibility, and finding that I kind of have a heart for that, being student council president. And in middle school I was student council president in 8th grade, and just getting to be involved. I've had a broad range of experiences through public education, and just going from Bell Elementary to Moore to Tyler Legacy now, it's just been a really good opportunity.
Lorelei is heavily involved in many facets of her high school career. Her attitude is simply amazing as she explains what it means to face challenges in life.
One of my teachers actually just showed us a video about how life doesn't get easier, but you get better at doing the harder things. And that's just kind of opened up my mind.
Lorelei's AP Calculus teacher, Mr. Josh Leffler, spoke about her leadership qualities as a student at Legacy.
I've never met someone with as much joy in her just spirit and demeanor as Lorelei. And I think that really transfers to her classes. And I think in her classroom, she elevates the culture of the room and just raises the positivity and I think the work ethic of everyone around her. And then also with student council, we're actually at our student council retreat right now, and she is completely planned and all those details, she's leading it. And just that kind of presence of positivity and encouragement, it just puts everyone at ease. It makes all of our members feel like they belong. And that's what she excels at the most.
Let's congratulate these two outstanding students. as we continue to reflect successful student outcomes throughout the district. Sponsored by Christus Trinity Mother Francis Health System.
At this time, we would like to welcome Aaliyah to the front to receive her award as our Elementary Student of the Month. Oh, go back and shake their hand. They're excited to meet you. Congratulations. And now we would like to welcome Lorelei to the front to receive her Secondary Student of the Month award. We're glad that Lorelei could make it tonight because right after this, she has to go right back to swimming practice. So I'm glad I'm not the one doing that in this cold weather. Let's give her another round of applause. And at this time, we would also like to celebrate our District Teacher of the Month, Rolando Alvarez, a fifth grade bilingual teacher at Orr Elementary School. And I'm going to ask him to come on up here while I read a few comments from his principal. Mr. Alvarez is one of 9 teachers recognized as a TIA designee. Mr. Alvarez also has perfect attendance and arrives to work early, about 30 minutes every day. He has started a soccer club for fifth grade boys on campus, and he is known for giving his umbrella to student helpers. And then even with his shoes soaked, he works the car pickup duty, sometimes in his bare feet, just to make sure that, and this is just a small example of how he goes above and beyond the efforts that he exerts for his students at their campus and for Tyler ISD. You are truly an excellent educator. Let's give him one more round of applause. Thank you so much. And that concludes our recognitions for this evening.
Okay, congratulations once again to all those who were recognized tonight. We'll move on to our continuous improvement and student outcomes. We have a CLI Engage update.
Chief Schools Officer Cassandra Chapa will give us an update on our CLI. That's our early ed assessment, beginning of the year assessments that we rely upon to see if our kiddos are making progress the way they need to be.
Yes.
Ms. Chapa.
Hello. So President Washman, Board of Trustees, Dr. Crawford, pleasure to be in front of you tonight. As he mentioned, we will be looking at our Children's Learning Institute Engage, a beginning of year update, the test that we better know as Circle. And so Circle is given to our pre-K and Head Start students. So students must be 4 years old by September to enter into this program. It assesses rapid learning, letter naming, rapid vocabulary, phonological awareness, math, one-on-one with the teacher. So the teacher scores it through iPad, computer. And then also we assess social and emotional skills and early writing skills through a holistic rubric that the teacher scores. So what you see on this first slide is the percent of students that scored on track. So that means through these sub-tests, they met a cut score in which for their age level, they would be considered on track to be proficient by the end of the year. So this is the difference between last year's cohort that entered into pre-K Head Start and this year's students. So these are not the same students. We did take this assessment a month earlier than we usually do to support, the purpose was to support our teachers in their home visit schedule. So we took it a month earlier, which we see might account for some of the difference, especially in rapid letter naming. Historically, rapid letter naming is the lowest score that we see at the beginning of the year, but it's also the area that we see the most growth by the end of the year. And this is because rapid letter naming is embedded in the daily instruction. So considering the difference, we're seeing that students entered this test with 30 days less of instruction or 20 days less of instruction than they have in the past. Here we see a breakdown of the students based on the program. So we offer 4 different programs: pre-K tuition, pre-K non-tuition, Head Start, and then the 4th being our bilingual students. So within these scores, we are seeing both the English testers and the Spanish testers. The trends that we see are not abnormal from what we've seen in the past based on the comparison of the different programs. And again, that rapid letter naming score coming from us taking the test a month earlier. Here we also see the breakdown of students by demographic. Again, these scores do include our English and Spanish testers. With the Spanish testing, their cut scores are a little bit different because there are some things that are not the same in regards to phonological awareness. So they have a little bit different sub-test in that regard. But again, this is not uncommon from what we've seen in the past. We'll be looking at the next wave of Circle in January. And so till then, again, teachers will be using their scholastic curriculum daily with instruction. They'll also use this data to be pulling small group and to host parent conferences so that they can support that learning and that growth.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody on the board have any comments or questions regarding this data?
I think she anticipated my questions if I asked it so many times. I appreciate that.
Hope so.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw my email today or not about Champions for Children, and there's an A&M program that they're looking and embarking upon. So remember, board, public that's here, these are kiddos that are first-time school-going kids. One concern that we have are the skill gaps that we inherit for a variety of reasons whenever they do come to us. And so we're already assessing that as early as pre-K and Head Start. What that Champions for Children program is talking about doing is a partnership with local daycares to start working on some of the academic portions of that, of what need to be done as far as shrinking some of the skill gaps that some of our kiddos are coming up with. So it's something we're considering, something they're considering as well. I don't think it's an official thing yet, but that's something that's you may be wondering about how can they start working on some of these things before they come to Tyler ISD? The other thing is, how do parents they might be staying at home with them as well? And that is kind of the question for us. How can kiddos that stay at home with their parents prior to coming to school in Tyler ISD can shrink some of those skill gaps that we're seeing out there? And we're working on it and looking forward to that, at least investigating that partnership with Champions for Children. I think Ms. Hines, you're the one that sent that our way.
I will also say that this particular test, especially taking it a month earlier, it's not just the skill within letter naming or rapid vocabulary, but it's also the style of questioning. And so students are asked to respond within 3 seconds for a minute. So again, not having that basis of school procedures, routines, it could be difficult for a student to respond in a timely manner in order to be scored, which is why we see such growth in rapid letter naming towards the end of the year once they've kind of gotten that routine and procedure in place. So, absolutely.
I'll just say I appreciate the transparency to bring us a slide with a bunch of red numbers. A lot. And you had to have known that was going to happen when you moved it up a month early. So thanks for that, and hope everyone knows what they're working on.
And with that, we do see some strengths within the math and the phonological awareness considering that piece. But yes, we typically see the largest gap with rapid letter naming.
That 4% difference in social emotional, I'm kind of happy for that, to be honest with you. As we've been living in the world we've been living in for the last couple or 3 years, we haven't had a lot of interaction and contact about how to behave and how to treat others. And certainly that's something that's just not a big gap that we can certainly work on those as we go forward. So it's not a hill we can't overcome.
Just to comment about the Champion for Children, that sounds like an excellent program, and I think that's going to go along with some of the things we've been talking about in regards to getting in there early and giving them an opportunity to start learning at an earlier age before they get to that level of being tested within the schools. That'd be great.
It's got a lot of wraparound services attached to it, which is always great. So our question is going to be the literacy and the numeracy portions of that. Because if we're just doing the same old stuff, we're not going to see an improvement in the academic skills that are going to be needed to kind of closed. So thank you for saying that. We'll investigate that further.
Does the assessments, the next two we're going to do, when are they, and are they on time to where we can get a clear reading?
They'll be at the same time that they were last year, so in January, and then again towards the end of the year in May.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Chapa. We appreciate you. All right. We are now at our public participation time. We do have a good many people signed up to speak, and I'll just remind you that everybody will have 3 minutes tonight. We don't want to be here for an hour or anything like that. But, just remember that we, as a board, we can ask like clarifying questions, but we can't respond to any comments, so it won't be a conversation or anything like that, just per statute, per law. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. Misty Scott Woods, go ahead and come on up. Hi, Ms. Woods.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Dr. Crawford, board members. My name is Misty Scott Woods. I'm a North Tylerite. I am the supervisor at the Tyler, Maine Post Office. I've been serving my community for over 15 years in the mail industry. I am a parent of an athlete at Tyler High School. I am here to voice my support of Coach Holmes publicly to you, as I know Coach Priest has met privately with community members with no children in football, but refuses to hear from parents. Coach Holmes has been the best coach for our kids, and it is concerning that with all the other problems at Tyler High, and we can list a few, that we are focusing our time on replacing a coach who is actually doing something positive in the lives of these young men. What other coaches in our school district do you see around here that has college coaches coming every day to give them an opportunity to play in college? How many of you know how many times he has personally driven players to colleges when we as parents have to work? How many of you have been there or anywhere to hear him push, beg, and encourage these boys to do better and be better? Well, we do, and we appreciate him. And if you can't, then there's a problem with the leadership of this district. Will the boys please stand? These boys are the Tyler High football team, and they are hurting. Please take in consideration of our meeting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Woods. Okay, I think we have Rashad Espy next. How you doing?
How you doing? How's everybody doing today? I am Rashad Espy. I am a Tylerite. I no longer live here, but I still support my community here based on what is about today. I do have a son that does attend John Tyler as well. And just real quickly, I'll say this and get out the way. Evolution has brought us to a place to where two things have happened. It's processed information really fast to us, and it's been a blessing and a curse. Because now some things we weren't privy to, we have access to really quickly. And then on the other hand, some things that we are privy to has now placed us in a really negative spot because we see so much negativity. Well, when people drop out and say something positive, it doesn't really get rid of responses. But when we try to expose something, then the responses and the shares are over millions and millions of views, and yet we still scream, let's do some positive reinforcement. And I say that to say because at this point, what we deal with our future, our kids, now has become to their desires more than the responsibility because of the information that they soak up so fast. That even in a two-parent household, even with men there in a household, there's steady this convoluted message that is given to them that makes them surface and go chase a desire versus a responsibility. So in our community, when we have somebody in position who cares about what is happening to our youth, who cares about our young men, we have to put in place a system that helps assist with getting that information to a positive level. One of the things being going back to some of our old foundation ways and putting together with some of the nuances of the new day. For instance, if you had a situation where you had a kid in school who was acting away, there was a coach involved that could go and deal with that student before a parent would ever get the phone call. But even when the parent and the coach would talk, there would be conversations. And whatever the disciplinary action that came up behind it, they were on the same team. But now we're in a world where they say, don't touch and don't mess with my kids. And the school has been placed in a position where they sort of have to honor that. But if we can start putting those things back together, where there's that fear of the boundary, the fear of the consequence, because now our kids are seeing, if you talk about some of their professional players who now can smoke marijuana and not even have an issue because the NFL doesn't test for it anymore. So how do you tell a kid, stay away from that? You can't, because my favorite player has a dispensary now. So in that, what has been said, we have a man in position right now who will listen to the parents, talk to the parents, who will relate to our kids and lead them and guide them as we are asking and we are trying to do. So if y'all could hear our cry tonight, take that in consideration, because our boys need him, as we do too.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Espy. Okay, next we have Tori McMiller.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Dr. Crawford and board members. I just come to speak on the behalf of Coach Holmes. Holmes always conducted a player and parent meetings. Goals were expected from players and standards was put in place. All understood was accountable. Holmes always kept his end of the deal. Act up at home, there will be consequences. Don't do your schoolwork, consequences. Late for practices, consequences. Which was some of the time, But when it come down to playing, he actually, excuse me, he actually, the kids could attest to that because those consequences, it was taking place. We have a good coach. He care about these kids. He come to their rescues when the parents are called. He gets out of his bed, and he has a family. He makes sure these kids' grades are pulled. He walks the hallways to make sure these kids are in class. He does everything it takes to do what he's supposed to do for these kids. And as a father, that's what I expect. That's what I teach. And then on the winning part in life, we're not going to always win in life. I understand that everybody wants to win, but that's not what it should be about all the time. There were some missing pieces on this football team. We needed a line. A line has to block for the quarterback. We didn't have that. So we can't expect to win games when we're having missing pieces. And they were expected to be there from the 8th grade, the 9th grade, and the combined team that's following. So if winning is just that important, I mean, what about the holding them accountable, the responsible, and the discipline part? You know, kind of getting a little, but I'm here for Coach Holmes, and we are all here. Hopefully, y'all can consider him to stay and be able to help these kids. Not only that, I want to mention this. There's not a coach come through here that's helping kids from South Tyler to North Tyler get scholarships to better their lives. So I hope y'all take that into consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McMiller. All right, next we have Diana Williams.
Hello, to
Hi, Ms.
each and
Williams.
everyone on the board member. I'm just going to piggyback mostly off of what they said because everything they said is what I had in mind as well. This is my son, Derek McFall. I have had 3 children that go through Coach Holmes' program. Now, neither one of them has ever said anything negative about him besides the push that he gives them, the push that he strives for them to do. My point about that is, it's not about the football field again, it's about the next life, that he has always encouraged them. It starts here, but it ends somewhere else. He always have had pushed Derek. When Derek came home the day that he heard that Coach Holmes was leaving, it was hard. It was very hard because not only is Coach Holmes a coach to him, he's someone he can go to, talk to, mentor him as well. So as they said before, we need him not only on the football field, but to continue to encourage these kids to move forward in life. And I just want to say, like with my older son, when I told him the news, he said, "No, Mom, Coach Holmes has told me so many things that I take in my everyday life that I think back, and I want him to be able to be there for my younger brother." Because it goes with the football as well as the next life. So I just want to say, on behalf of him, if I call Coach Holmes any day, he's going to call me back. He's going to talk to me. We're going to talk as friends. It may be something I like, maybe something I don't like, but we can get through it. And we have always gotten through it. And as far as my son goes, he is the team captain of that team. He's the team captain for a reason. Coach Holmes nominated him, and as Derek don't always do right, but he calls me and let me know. For someone that you can communicate with from day to day, and he also checks on these kids' grades, as far as they said it before, I think that we need him to stay in that position a little bit longer.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Okay, next we have Amarian Spencer Hood. How you doing, Amarian?
I go to Tyler High, I play football, and I'm here to support Coach Holmes. And he does a lot for us. Like, he makes sure that we on time for our classes, make sure we're getting our grades up. And he wants us to have a better life so we can go to college and be successful. And he do a lot for us. He makes sure that we good and we straight. Like, at the end of the day, it's not about winning games. It's just about making good choices in life. And with him gone, like, that's making it worse. Because when my mom told me about it, I sit there and I cried about it, and I was up all night thinking about that. Because ever since I was a little boy at playing for the Little Lions, I always thought about going to JT to play for Coach Holmes, and suddenly now I get there, y'all want to ruin that. And that's not fair to us. So that's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have Joe Thompson.
How y'all doing, board?
Good, Mr. Thompson. How are you?
Good. I'm coming speaking on behalf of Tyler High. I did not go to John Tyler. My kids did. My granddaughter going there now. But I'm sitting looking. I know y'all say you can't answer some of the questions, but Coach Holmes, he's a good guy. He goes to bat for those kids. I know him, been knowing him for a long time, and he's one of those guys that reach out for him. But my concern is you're dismissing him, if that's the case, or if you're going to do that. But I know we can sit here and talk all night. It's still, if the job has been done, said, it's going to be set on the table. But my concern is, too, you get rid of a young man as the head coach, but in order to be a successful head coach, you got to have surroundings behind you. If you don't have that, I don't care how good a coach you are, you're not going to make it. And what I'm saying is that man can be whoever you want to be for as a head coach name, but if he's not labeled to bring somebody in that's going to support you, do what needs to be done, and know what they need to do, that's a different story. And I'm saying all that to say is, it's not about, I'm tired of hearing about John Tyler alumni has been hired over there. If the alumni is not going to get the job done, we need to do something else different, because I hadn't heard a lot about Lee alumni getting hired over here. When they had coaches come in over there, I don't know if they're bringing other people in, but if we decide to go ahead and get rid of Coach Holmes, reach down here in the bottom of the barrel and pull a head coach up as a head coach, I disagree with that. If we're not going to reach out and bring somebody that's going to try and turn the program around, if their hands are not tied, I disagree with it. So, all those guys over there, ain't now one of them, I'm sorry, get out there, but going to show me that you can take that job and run with it. Friendship's not going to get the job. It ain't about friends over there no more. I know Rick reached out when he took over the job, brought a couple guys back that didn't get on the job. He put them back on the list, a payroll list, that is. He did that. Everybody know that. So that's what I'm saying is, if you're going to get rid of him, it's going to be done. But I think it'd be a slap in the face to go ahead and tell one of those young men over there, you the head coach because we got a buddy-buddy deal going. It's wrong. Lee, for the last few years, they brought in outside coaches. They have not said and put no head coach up over there as interim coaches over there for those kids. And so, like I said, I know y'all probably won't get rid of him, but it's a slap in the face to see any one of those guys get the head job. Because they're not going to tote the mail either. If they were going to tote the mail, we'd have won some games this year. We'd have won some games. And I know Little League football don't count that much, but Andy Burfield sitting right there, no, he does Little League too. He used to. And me and my Tyler line coaches, we have won 5 championships undefeated. But guess what? Everybody said, Joe, you're a good head coach. It's not about Joe. I won 5 Super Bowls undefeated, but it was about the guys I had behind me. So if Rick Hands is tired, well, he cannot go out and hire the personnel he needs, he's not going to get nothing. And that's going to be the same for those young men coming up now. If y'all going to boot them up there and their hands are tired, we're not getting nowhere. That's all I got to say. I mean, it's just not going to happen. And I know Legacy got some people coach dismissed, but I'm waiting to see. Will it be an outside ball into Legacy, or be an inside baller in over the league, to John Tyler. That's my concern.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. All right, we have one more speaker tonight. That's Joseph McCullough. Might be McCullough, but McCullough.
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Over the past few years, educators who would have never considered leaving their profession have recently done so, and more may follow. While I do not have insight into the specific circumstances surrounding the 3 job abandonment cases listed on the agenda, consideration of 3 terminations due to abandonment in a single meeting is significant. Last week, I emailed the board and superintendent and asked if the district conducts any teacher satisfaction surveys and how I, as a member of the public, could access these results. The answer that I got was that nothing like that currently exists. In order for the district and the public to advocate for our teachers, I believe this should change. Educators and staff deserve to have their concerns addressed and their collective voices heard by everyone willing to listen. Imagine the improvements to our education system that would materialize if just a fraction of the time and effort spent analyzing STAR test results was instead invested into analyzing the well-being of the professionals that give meaning to your positions. When educators can thrive, students can thrive. Round Rock ISD, where I have recently moved from, implements a yearly voluntary and anonymous campus climate survey that Tyler ISD would benefit from adopting. It allows the district to gather data regarding the way educators and staff experience their work environment on a daily basis. Educators are surveyed on important topics that may be uncomfortable for the district to face, but are nonetheless necessary to preserve the mental and physical health of our professionals. Example survey prompts include, on a scale of strongly disagree to strongly agree, morale is high at this school. I would encourage others to work at the school. My campus administrators look out for my personal welfare, and I feel safe at this school. This is just one suggested implementation, but the general problem that needs solving is that, as far as I'm aware, educators have no way of safely voicing their grievances to the public. Educators should not be expected to come up to this microphone and speak their objections to the very people that have authority to terminate their contracts. Our educators should be expected to work hard, but they should not be expected to suffer in silence. How can we as the public help bring light to the issues educators in our district face if we have no insight into those issues? Shortly after this meeting, I will email all of you an example climate survey, and I look forward to your response.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCullough. All right, that is it for public participation. Thanks, everybody, for coming up and speaking.
I was here earlier, and I asked about the agenda. And I had an opportunity to fill out a piece of paper, and I would like to speak on this behalf, because I don't think we have touched on what really needs to be touched on regarding Coach Holmes. You can ask the lady I was here, and I asked to sign in, and she couldn't tell me anywhere on the agenda which she was going to talk about Coach Holmes, but I would like to do my 3 minutes.
Well, ma'am, I'm sorry, and I'm pretty loosey-goosey with things usually with the time and everything, but if you don't sign up, that's just board policy. So come next meeting and talk to us, and next time we meet, come 10 minutes early. You can sign up and we can let you speak. So.
The main issue that needs to be addressed is what is going to happen with Coach Holmes and the coach at Robbie. You can't answer questions, but it was told that if we showed up on behalf of Coach Holmes, they'll make sure he had a bad record wherever he goes.
Okay. Well, like, public participation's over, and I do appreciate your concern, but everybody's spoken, so we're going to go, this is a business meeting, so we're going to go ahead and go on with our business, okay? Thank you, everybody. Okay, so next up, we have the approval of minutes. I'll go ahead and entertain the motion on the approval of minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
Okay, I have a
You got
motion,
dates?
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Okay,
October
next.
6th and October 17th.
Okay, thank you for
Gotta get my
specifying that.
glasses.
Next, we have our business, legal, finance, and consent agenda. I don't think we're going to pull any of those to talk about anything specifically, so I'll go ahead and entertain a motion on items A through I.
I move we approve items A through I on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Harrison. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, now we have superintendent staff reports on the District of Innovation teacher certification.
In your packet, you have a report, as promised to y'all during our District of Innovation process that we just renewed, to have y'all updated once a semester on how many DOI teachers that we do have teaching in our school system at this time. Executive Director of Human Resources, Sherry Taylor, will provide that information for you.
Good evening.
Good evening, President Washman, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Crawford. Thank you for having me here tonight as we discuss the fall District of Innovation certification data. So we do have 187 that are on district certifications right now. I do want you to kind of crunch some data with you. 55% of those are first year on DOI, but then that percentage drops to 15% are on their second year under DOI, or if they've been on it longer, it drops even more, which that tells us that we do have some that are working on their certifications and they're working to get certified. That's why we have a lot of the numbers that have dropped from 55 to 15% and lower. Now, if you want to look at it, we have 62% of them that were waiting on statement of eligibility. And what that means is that they still have a little bit of coursework left in their alt-cert program, but they are in an alt-cert program. Or they have some tests they need to finish before they get their intern certificate. And that's why we put them on DOI, to give them time to take the test, finish their coursework, and then that way we have them to where they're ready to get their intern, and then hopefully their standard there pretty quickly after. We do have a few that we have out of state. We have 2% waiting on their out of state credentials to be reviewed by TEA, or we have 4% that are waiting on their university just to give them the go ahead to take a test so they can pass the test. So those are just the data that we have of why we have 187 and what it looks like and how the percentages are broken down a little bit.
Okay.
Any questions?
Anybody have any questions or comments about this specific item?
Question.
Mhm.
In regards to the teachers and their certification, you said all of them on track, so they have a 3-year track that they're on in relation to getting their certification, right? Is that correct?
That's a goal, but it just depends because a lot of the tests are more difficult now and it's taking them a little bit longer to pass them, but that is the goal. But right now, data across the state shows that we have more people that are coming through the alt-cert, which means more are going to be on DOI.
Okay. After 3 years, what happens?
They can stay on DOI until they get that certification.
Okay. Do they continue to, are they encouraged to continue seeking their certification?
Yes,
while
sir.
they're on DOI? Okay.
We highly encourage them to.
Anecdotal, Mr. Newsom, a little bit here, if I may. We certainly look at performance, we look at appraisals, we look at outcomes, student outcomes in regard to those that might go past a third year or so. In talking with some younger teachers who I don't want to say they don't want tenure, but tenure does not mean quite as much to them because they didn't come up through the teacher ed programs and all that, et cetera. So I don't know if you're going to wind up seeing here, not just in Tyler, but across the state, if you're going to see a lot of folks that are going to wind up being probationary teachers their entire career. If they decide to stay on DOI, it's really interesting in what we have. In fact, there's a little slide. I had this saved because this is kind of the state of certifications in Texas. So take them through that.
Of
Ms. Taylor.
course. So if you look, the orange bar represents the year 2013, 2014. At that point, we had, the traditional program is on top, and then the alt-cert is below. There was a difference of 2,261 teachers were produced more from traditional programs, from the 4-year program. But I want you to take a look at the teal bars. That is the year 2020 and 2021. If you see, that has flopped. It has flipped roles. Right now, alt-cert programs are creating 2,466 more teachers last year than what our four-year programs produced. I want you to look at this slide now. Now, all of this is from TEA website. Look at 2013, 2014, and compare that to 2015 and 2016. That is where our numbers increase with alt-cert programs. And it has been a steady gain in that gap from alt-cert and four-year program all the way up to 2020 and 2021. But this is what I found really interesting. This is the top 10 educator production avenues from 2020 and 2021. 5 of the top 10 that's in the teal, those are four-year programs. They produce 2,809 teachers. The orange, 4 of those are alt-cert programs. They produce 9,817 teachers. That is 7,000 more than the 5 universities.
Top 5 universities.
Top 5 universities,
Yeah.
thank you. That's not in the top 10. Stephen F. Austin is ranked number 15. It only produced 367 teachers. Texas A&M Commerce is ranked 16. And UT Tyler was ranked 39. And that's according to the TEA website. So what does that mean for us? It means we're liable to have more District of Innovation certification teachers right now. And that's something we have to consider.
Yeah, certainly, I'll say this, that no doubt we're going to have to be agile and develop our own teacher ed program with maybe with our own department. That's something that's going to happen, or partner with higher ed to get them in and then get them certified in other ways. I'm an alt-cert guy. It was either to go back to school another year after my school was already paid for, or to get my degree in education and go play a couple of years of minor league baseball and then get into an alternative certification program while I was getting a salary to support my family and my growing family. So certainly alt-cert is starting to become a very popular avenue for teacher certification for either a second career or someone who looks at an opportunity. DOI, certainly we value those teachers. We were glad they're degreed, that they chose to work with us, and we want them to go on and get their certification. So we're all in a predicament here, not just in Tyler, but across the state. If you're telling me that SFA in East Texas, SFA and A&M Commerce that used to be East Texas State Teachers College is struggling to produce that amount of classroom teachers, that is a predicament. That is not just a regional issue, but a state issue, because that's what they were founded upon, that and ag education. So very sobering presentation here, but we're supposed to provide you this presentation and have this discussion.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that thorough presentation. All right. We have a local policy, the first reading, local policy CO.
That's a food service adjustment on page 35 of your packet. If you have any questions after you read this incredibly deep policy about food service, please call me. We can certainly get you in touch with Victor Oliveris, our Director of Food Services, but I think there's only one adjustment on there, if you can see that on page 36.
It's taking out elementary campuses, I believe.
Yeah, up to 5 school days for a student elementary school.
Yeah.
That was what's deleted in there as far as meal charges go, as far as insufficient balance.
Yeah. Okay, yes, if anybody has any questions on that specifically, we can ask. All right, coming up, we have future business. We have a December 3rd workshop.
That's a Saturday.
That's a Saturday, apparently.
It's December 1st.
Third is a Saturday.
December 1st, no.
Is a
December
Thursday.
1st workshop. Okay. All right. Don't anybody show up on Saturday.
It was the day of the Big 12 championship.
All right. And December 12th, we have a regular meeting. Other than that, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Sorry.
What?
You already had the gavel going. Just a heads up, we may not have anything for the board workshop in December.
Okay.
It's just not lining up that we'll have information. We certainly don't, we want to respect your time. And so if there's anything that can be pushed to the regular meeting, we'll do so.
Okay. That sounds like a plan. I will now entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.